Okay, welcome back to the channel. We're going to try and recreate a barnstorming flight over Niagara Falls. I flew over Niagara the other day in a J3 Cub NVR. I just want to see how it looks from the cockpit of this JN4 Jenny, which was an ubiquitous plane in the day. I mean, starting in 1915, they built thousands of them for the U.S. Air Force, and when World War I ended, it was the airplane of choice for barnstormers because they could pick it up cheap. So people all over North America flew them everywhere. Stopped in farmers' fields and charged $1 a flight, trying to make a living as aviators. So and if you're wondering why the picture is all shimmery in front there, that's the castor oil in the exhaust. Normally, after about an hour of flying one of these airplanes, I'm not sure, that might just be the exhaust, but I think they might lubricate it with castor oil. Some of the early planes did, and it was kind of hard on the pilots. All right, let's go. Let's let the tail come up. It wants to. There we go. We got flying speed? Oh yes, just barely. The Jenny doesn't do anything fast. It's a great airplane, but it's not a fast one. You can see in front the engines, the rocker arms don't have covers on. So they'd be spraying oil everywhere, and you'd probably have to rebuild the engine every 50 hours. But we're flying. What an adventure for a young man or woman, or an old man or old woman. In the first third of the 20th century. And the other day when I flew over Niagara Falls, I noted that it wasn't animated. I was disappointed. It looked more like a painting of the falls. But a couple of my viewers, the few, the very tolerant, pointed out that there was downloadable sceneries you could buy that would animate the falls. They recommended a couple, and I found one right on Steam, so that's the one we're going to try. It requires photogrammetry scenery on them. I'm pretty sure that's what I got. And as I recall, Niagara Falls is somewhere over this way. There's the heliport. One of my viewers suggested I fly a helicopter from there, but you know, I'll do that sometime when we've got 20 minutes just to laugh at me, because I have never tried flying a helicopter in any kind of a simulation. Oh no, that's not exactly true. I had Microprose's Apache game back in the 90s, and that was fun. But I don't think it was horribly realistic. I don't remember it as being difficult. I did buy another helicopter game in the early 2000s, but it was way too complicated for me. I like things that are simple. That's why I like golf. All you need to do is know a little bit of arithmetic. Addition, preferably. I was very surprised to find out how many of my adult friends struggled with addition on the golf course, but were pretty good at subtraction. Parents, where I taught, used to ask why I liked supervising golf. And I said, well, I like working with kids on the golf course, because in kids, golf builds character, and in adults, it reveals it. And I think that's true. A lot of times you find out who you really want to associate with in life on the golf course. This thing wants to climb, so I'm going to trim it for a little gentler climb. I don't want to get too slow. There's Horseshoe Falls. I like the way the exhaust fumes make everything shimmer. I'm not getting a great frame. Well, I'm getting 37 frames per second now. That's not terrible for my machine. I've got the settings at moderate. I wouldn't call them heavy duty, but it's enough to push my NVIDIA 3090 and my i9900 CPU a little bit. So next year when Flight Sim 2024 comes out, I'm going to try and scrape together the money to upgrade my computer and get a better video card. By then I hope the 5090 will be on the market. I might as well build a computer for that. Or whatever the next gen thing is, whatever the next new hot video card is. I don't care who makes it as long as it's great flight simulators. That's kind of the way I feel about VR equipment too. I love my Pimax headset. I mean, don't get me wrong. This Crystal is just an astonishing headset for flight sims. But, you know, I don't own any shares in Pimax, so much as I like their products and I love their vision, trying to be on the leading edge, trying to stretch the envelope, I'm really all about me when it comes to VR. If a better product comes along that suits me better, well, thanks for everything, Pimax, and hold my beer while I try this new headset. Not that I'm not grateful to Pimax. And to all the other headset manufacturers. I mean, we push each other, right? I mean, if the HPG2 hadn't come out, I don't think Pimax would have worried so much about this next generation of headsets. But I mean, the older I get, the less I know for sure. I think it's good to have competition. This new Somnium headset, if it ever gets to fruition, will be something I'm interested in. Well, this part doesn't appear to be, well, it might be automated, but animated, but it doesn't appear to be. So let's fly along this way for a bit. Well, none of this is animated. Maybe I have to do something to enable Skyline time. Let's pretend we didn't see that. That wasn't there in the 1920s. Of course, a lot of this stuff wasn't there in the 1920s, was it? The sheriff. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I thought all this would be animated. I must have done something wrong. There must be some setting I forgot to turn on. A little bit altitude. Yeah, there's sure lots to see anyway. One thing I've noticed with this photogrammatic scenery is that the trees seem a little thicker in the sim than they are in real life. I flew over Augusta National Golf Course in VR the other day, and I could hardly make out the holes for all the trees. And when I looked on an aerial photo, they just weren't that thick. You know what, I'm just going to pause this through the magic of the pause button. Ta-da! I'm going to see what settings I need to do. Is there some setting I need to turn on here? Data. Let's make sure we got photogrammatic scenery on. That's on. World graphics on. Live, multi-weather, live weather is off. Well, I think I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Did I remember to take out the garbage? Well, my wife will let me know. She's good at that. She keeps me on task. Thank God for her, I get nothing done. Over the years together, you know, you either become a team or you don't, and we've become a pretty good team, I think. God knows she's better than I deserve. DLSS is set for performance. Reprojection mode is off. I don't know what the hell half this stuff is, so. I'm going to turn a couple things down here. Maybe just that. Apply and save. Go back. Resume. Yeah, I don't know what else we could do. Alright, let's go. Yeah, this Jenny doesn't have an overabundance of power. It's kind of pleasant to fly, though. Okay, so over the town here I'm showing 38 to 42 frames per second. But I can't imagine that we'll maintain that over the busier sceneries. I did what everybody does in flights, and when my city got photogrammatic scenery, and I flew over my hometown and tried to see where I lived. But again, the trees were so thick I couldn't see the houses. So there's something odd going on there. If it's using Bing Maps, then the maps are wrong, because the trees are way too thick. And no matter what season I pick, there's never any snow. You know what else there should be is you cruise over the falls in an open cockpit airplane. You should hear the roar of the falls, don't you think? I would think. I think maybe I hear a little bit of the roar. Where's that? My stomach. I'm kind of hungry. Oh, that's animated. I think that's animated. Look at that. The falls itself is animated. Okay, now I'm happy. Yes, I'm much happier now. But unfortunately, the river leading up to it isn't real. So you have this stationary river, and then suddenly it becomes liquid and falls off the edge. Well, it's better than a painting, I gotta admit. Oh, there's a boat down there. Is that what they call the Lady of the Lake? I don't know. Oh, this is better, yeah. Now I feel good. You can hear the roar of the falls. They've done a nice job on this. I guess maybe it would just be too graphics intensive to animate all the water coming in. Oh, is there some animation there? They've done pretty good. Wow, really, I'm quite happy with this. We better climb up a bit though. There's the city of Niagara Falls over there. So we'll head that way. Well, that was kind of exciting. I have to admit, I'm really very happy now. I mean, yeah, that was worth seeing. And of course, I mean, look at the water. Oh my gosh. The ripples on the water and the shades of green. Although in my case, it's because I've got the detail turned down a little bit. Some of the panels, the graphics panels, are squares overlapping, but when I get a faster video card, I'll be able to fix that. The Pimax does kind of demand a fair amount of power. I wonder if oh yeah, see, that was pretty jerky there. 19 frames per second, that's why. I wonder if I can turn water levels up and maybe see if we can get a little better view of the water. Volumetric clouds, water waves. Let's turn those to high. Yeah, let's turn those to high and see what happens. So we'll just make the flight a hair longer, a tad longer, a pittance of time longer. And we'll see if that improves the water. And I don't know if what you see on the flat screen monitor recorded in OBS is exactly what I'm seeing. No, I think I'm still seeing. It's better blended though. It is better blended, yeah. But I'm still seeing fairly clear edges between the inshore water and the offshore water. Unless those are platforms in the water. Unless there's something under the water that I have no idea, but it sure looks weird. Well, let's fly over the city and go home. I'd love to have a ride in it, Jenny. We've got at the airport here, we have a tiger moth. And I've been thinking of buying a ride in that. That'd be fun. I've only had a ride in one biplane. That was a Christian Eagle. And that thing, you know, kind of scared me a little bit. I was flying with the guy that owned it, and he was an amazing pilot, far better pilot than I'd ever be. So I was confident in him. I wasn't scared of flying, but it felt like I could reach out and grab the wingtip. The wings were so short. Boy, was it a twitchy little airplane. But he sure flew it well. Mind you, he still is, a wonderful aerobatics pilot. He actually got to fly a Spitfire in England. And I'd never be that good. So, what's happening here? My frame rate's jumping around, going down to 18 and then back to 20. 36 now. Sometimes I think Windows plays tricks on me. And update stuff in the background, even when it tells me it's not going to. Oh well. All it takes to get a better frame rate is new technology, and all that requires is more money. I might have to retire from retirement and get a job. There are a lot of jobs for old fat men in the school world. I'd love it if I could go back to the classroom. I don't think that'll ever happen. I have the stamina for it. Maybe I could be a greeter at a department store or a grocery store. There's hardly any newspapers to deliver anymore. I guess I'll just keep doing my freelance voice work and maybe a little writing on the side, try and scrape a few bucks together. Well, that looks kind of like the airport to me. So I guess I'm distracted by the scenery again. Gosh, and there's cars on the road. Oh, I'm liking that. I don't know if they're moving though. Are they moving? Hard to say. Well, let's park this puppy. And that's what you call a three-point landing, or close enough to a three-point landing. What I'd like to try mastering in here is wheel landings. I did them in a Citabria a little bit, but I always felt like, a three-point landing's the way to go. But in a crosswind in my little Luscombe, I always thought, boy, a wheel landing might be a little easier, maybe a little safer. Because that was a very narrow-tracked vehicle. It could take a lot of crosswind, but as a pilot in it, I couldn't. The airplane could do a lot more than I could, which is usually the case. Okay, so that's our tour over Niagara Falls. It's nice to see some animation, isn't it? And then I could actually hear the sound of the falls, so I was pretty impressed with that. And that's right in the Steam library, or the Microsoft Asobo Flight Sim 2020 Marketplace. So there may be better versions of it around. I'm sure some of my viewers will have opinions on that, and they're probably right. But this is the one right at hand, and I'm quite happy with it, actually. So now I'm going to look for other sceneries that animate things and make them cooler. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. I just think it's a grand thing to be able to share my hobby with you. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, we'll talk soon.